I want every Oregonian to know 3 names: Emmett Till, George Floyd, Alonzo Tucker. Individuals whose memory inspired a movement for social change. I have personally continued my efforts to reconcile the lynching of Alonzo Tucker via my campaign to end the death penalty in Oregon. In May 2022, I gave a TED Talk with TEDx Portland called "How Do You Reconcile a Lynching?" about our need to end lynching's contemporary heir, the death penalty. But beyond my work around the death penalty, Alonzo Tucker's story continues to be elongated by the individuals who have been inspired by his memory to pursue their own truth and reconciliation projects. For the last 3 years, I have worked with the community of Grants Pass to reconcile their history of being a sundown town. Sundown towns were communities that purposefully excluded African Americans and other racial minorities from living in or simply passing through the community through a culture of fear, violence, and intimidation. There was a sign in Grants Pass into the late 1960s, early 1970s that said, "Nigger, don't let the sun come down on you here." So, the title of our work is called The Sunrise Project, with the idea that sunrise is the opposite to sundown. This work signals that there is a new day coming. Thus, we are trying to develop a new identity in Grants Pass is that of a sunrise community, essentially the opposite to a sundown town. A place in which everyone can feel safe, respected, and like they can call that space their home. In addition to our direct community and educational work, we are working towards the installation of a historical marker, discussing Oregon and Grants Pass's history of racial exclusion, but also functioning as the community's stated commitment to inclusivity or sunrise commitment, a commitment to how we want to treat one another. Notably, this would become the United States' first ever historical marker about sundown towns. And we have already expanded the Sunrise Project to the neighboring community of Ashland and are forming groups in Eastern Oregon and Clackamas County. Additionally, I've also been working with the community of Oregon City to memorialize a man named Jacob Vanderpool. Jacob Vanderpool was the only known person actually expelled from Oregon under the state's Black exclusionary laws. He was a business owner and was forced to leave Oregon after a competing white business owner conspired to have him arrested. Shortly thereafter, Jacob Vanderpool was expelled from the state of Oregon, never to return. So we are looking to place a historical marker where his business once stood, but then also help the city of Oregon City develop recruitment and retention plans for people of color. Because while our state may no longer have legal expulsions, Oregon still foments an element of cultural expulsion on its communities of color. Thus, the experience of Jacob Vanderpool is still being experienced by individuals of color all across Oregon. Oregon City was the birthplace of Oregon's Black exclusionary laws, so we hope that it can also be the birthplace of an eventual statewide plan to recruit and retain communities of color in Oregon. Most recently, I've also started working with the community of Gladstone regarding their community's history with the Ku Klux Klan. We're focusing in on the Klan's definition of 100% American, straight white Christian Protestants, as we look to decentralize whiteness from the community's understanding of Americanism. We're seeking to elevate cultural holidays that celebrate the diversity of Americans who call Oregon their home as we focus on the barriers that many face to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. People often lament that Oregon is so white, which, while true, minimizes the presence and contributions of communities of color to our Oregon identity. So we are looking to use Gladstone as a starting place for how we redefine what it means to be 100% American and 100% Oregonian. I consider all of this work an elongation of Alonzo Tucker's story. That by using his memory to inspire contemporary change, we are giving him a new legacy in the state of Oregon. I hope that you will join with me in writing the next chapters of his story. You can support the Oregon Remembrance Project via your time, your talent, or your treasure. When I was younger, I used to think that it was remarkable people that did remarkable things. But the older I've gotten, the more I've realized that it's remarkable things that make remarkable people, and I believe that you can be a part of something that's remarkable. The Oregon Remembrance Project is represented by the image of a rose in a jar. The jar pays homage to Alonzo Tucker, whose lynching inspired a movement for reconciliation in Oregon. The rose represents Portland, the city of roses, where the Oregon Remembrance Project is based. But more importantly, the rose also represents the idea that if we make it through the thorny or difficult parts of the flower, there's something beautiful on the other end. Where in that same way, if we make it through the difficult parts of remembrance and repair, there's something better, redemption, waiting for us on the other end. R.I.P. Alonzo Tucker. May you one day rest in power.